Hello, my name is Gabe Zolna. I just looked at a little video on this Western Center for Journalism, and the article is entitled H.Holders Buries Another Fast and Furious Victim. Well, apparently on November the 25th of this year, a Mexican beauty queen by the name of Maria Flores Gomez was shot to death, and laying right beside her body, guess what, was an AK-47. One that was eventually traced back to the guns that the less than honorable H.Holders Jr. and I believe Obama helped to walk across the Mexican border. And what we'll find is that through Operation Fast and Furious, many bodies will continue to surface. And the reason that is that I believe that far more than 1,500 or 2,000 guns walked across the border, or were allowed to walk across the border. And the reason I say that is because guns were sold from Arizona right down through to Houston, all along the entire southwest border. And so the government does know how many guns were sold, but they're not going to tell us because I think those numbers would be staggering. I also wouldn't let the Mexican government be too keen on ongoing relationships with our country. But in either case, I think there's some good news in this, and that is that since Obama's now assigned the vice president, you know, Joey Biden, baby, to put together a task force to look into guns, they might want to focus a little bit of attention on Fast and Furious as well. And the reason that is if you go to Western Center Journalism and you look at that article, you'll see that they played a tape, and I've made mention of this in numerous videos before. And all you want to do is go Google, or just watch that tape on Western Center Journalism, but Google David Ogden, O-D-G-E-N, March the 24th, 2009. And then you'll see David Ogden, who happened to be the Assistant Attorney General. And he outlines the entire program. And he starts off by saying that President Obama, through the stimulus, provided initial funding of $10 million. I was later to learn that that program consumed in excess of $50 million before it was shut down. But anyway, he talks about Obama providing the initial funding. Then he also talks about the less than honorable H.Holders Jr. and his participation in the program. And if you do Google that, you'll also see there's another video you can see where you see the secretary, Janet Napolitano, you know who she is. Well, she talks about the program as well. Now keep in mind, this is March the 24th, 2009. They never admitted to having any prior knowledge, they meaning H.Holders and or Napolitano, having any prior knowledge until Brian Terry was murdered. And when he was murdered, that's when they said that's the first thing that they ever heard about it. Now, as far as Obama, he said that he heard about it watching television on a news flash. Right? We're talking about the President of the United States. He didn't hear about this until he's watching television on a news flash, okay? I mean, how insane is that? In either case, I think we're going to find that the bodies will continue to pop up. When the congressman in California was getting too close to uncovering the truth in regards to Operation Fast and Furious, and he did end up holding the less than honorable H.Holders for contempt, which is why I call him the less than honorable, because he has been charged with contempt. But not that that matters, because he's being protected by who? By Obama. What ended up happening was when the Attorney General decided that the heat was too hot, he asked for his buddy to bail him out. And what Obama did was he exerted executive privilege in the release of any additional documents to Congressman Darlisa. By exerting executive privilege, no additional information could be made available. But what's interesting is that the president does have that ability, but he doesn't have the ability to transfer that ability. In other words, he cannot exert executive privilege onto another scenario unless he himself is involved directly in that scenario. Now keep in mind, he denied having any prior knowledge. So if he denied having any prior knowledge, I don't know why our Congress just sits on their little rear ends and does nothing about it. if he denied having prior knowledge and then he had no participation, then he can't exert executive privilege. So what are you guys waiting for in Congress, huh? Well, anyway, with Joe on the case, I gotta believe it'll get solved real soon. He'll probably spend some time investigating as to why the American people shouldn't have guns and how he can circumvent them from getting guns. And maybe he'll stumble on the truth behind Operation Fast and Furious. But I guess if he did that, he couldn't tell anybody because it's his boss, right? I'm talking about, Beale, Barry, Sotero, or Barack Hussein Obama, or whoever he is. The truth is, we don't even know who he is, but that's a different story. Bodies are going to continue to come up because, once again, I believe there's thousands and thousands of guns across the border. And here he is, Obama's trying to prevent us from having guns. What's interesting is that article, or that video, it closes by making a statement, and what it says is something to the effect that, we shouldn't have guns, but it's okay for a drug lord to have guns. But what it should have said is it's okay for a drug lord to have guns that Attorney General H.Holders and President Obama gave to him. Crazy, huh? These are the times we're dealing with.